Genesis 11 is about the Tower of Babel or Babel, which like Babel, Babble, is like just cacophony and just something that you have a lot of just people babbling all the time, like I do. But now the whole world had one language and common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "If, as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." This is from the New International Version, is the one that I'm reading from today. So it is plural there for the God being, which is interesting there. Um, which is really cool to think about. But what I don't like is that God's just like, yeah, the people are about to do everything that they put their minds to. Which I think what he's thinking there is they could overthrow me or us. And he doesn't want to be overthrown, which kind of reminds me of some things that have happened in other mythologies. So, for example, in the Greek myths, you have Mother Earth, Gaia, and uh, Kronos. Like K, Keronos. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Who gets, or no, Mother Earth and Oranos, Saturn, who gets overthrown by Kronos, who then gets a prophecy that says that his children will overthrow him. So he has children with Rhea. You'll notice is also Zeus's first wife. He has children with Rhea, Hades, Zeus, Demeter, Poseidon, Hades, Zeus, Demeter, Poseidon, Hera, Hestia, six of them. And that happens. And it ends up with something where basically Zeus doesn't get swallowed by him and Zeus overthrows him. And then later on, Athena, Hera, Poseidon, and I think Apollo try to overthrow Zeus and fail. Um, and there's punishments for three of the four of them, favorite kid privilege and all that. So yeah, but this reminds me of God basically being like, "Oh no, they're going to overthrow me. I can't have that happen." So he goes down and destroys it, and then the Lord scattered them all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the languages of the whole world, for the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth, which is like an interesting story, an important story, but it takes up 8 verses of the Bible. 8 verses of the Bible for that. And like I get it, like it's something where like the um hypothetically speaking, languages shouldn't have evolved in theory based on the knowledge we had back then, but with the knowledge we have now, we understand that it does, and there are reasons for it. For example, where I live, actually, there's been studies done on where I live that we have the fastest facial twitch muscles, which allows us to speak more quickly than others, which also makes us great at sports commentating. Um, but yeah, so that was interesting to see. And then it goes from Shem to Abram. Now, if you don't remember who Abram is the old name of Abraham. Uh, this is the account of Shem's family tree. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Abrahaxid and became the father of Shem. Shem lived 500 years. And then Abraxid lived 403 years. And then we had Eber. Shelah lived 403 years. Eber lived 430 years. Um, Peleg lived 209 years. Reu lived 207 years. Serug lived 200 years. Nahor lived 119 years. And then Terah had lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And then this is the account of Terah's family line. And then the father of Abram and Haran became the father of Lot. While his father Terah is still alive, Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans in the land of his birth. Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, who was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Milcah and Ishka. Cyrus was childless because she was not able to conceive. And then Terah lived 205 years. And then basically it's just a genealogy and it moves on to the next chapter. But if you remember in Genesis 6, so 6 chapters ago at this, 5 chapters ago at this point, God said their years should be 120. Did God forget? I don't think so. What I think happened was because, as we know, the Bible was written by, in this period, four different sources. Genesis with three of them, P, J, and E. D is only in Deuteronomy. It's more likely that it was from a different source here. And yeah, the genealogies were from a different source, and so there were stories and everything. But yeah, it's weird. The genealogy here is kind of boring unless you remember that God literally said man shall only live to 120 years, and then you see the giant list of people living to like 700, 200, 500. It's like, what are you doing? And you gotta think, like, somebody forgot it, or it actually helped. It's evidence that the Bible is not the divine word of God, but what men wrote down. And when men write the Bible, there's mistakes in the Bible, or there's changes in the Bible, or we can see evidence that XYZ happened in the Bible versus ZYX happened in the Bible. All sorts of different stuff happens in the Bible, but it's because of the different sources. And then, of course, you got the editor, redactor, Richard Elliott Friedman calls him, of the Bible that probably made some changes. So, yeah, I like the story of the Tower of Babel because it shows that there is a reason in the Bible for why all the languages are the way they are. It's not the reason that things are the way they are, but it makes sense in terms of like the Bible. So I like it as a story. It's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on from that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We do daily sports predictions videos. We do stuff about the Bible. We do Mariner stuff. We do whatever I want. Sometimes I vlog. Sometimes I scream about Boogie2988. You can support me on Cameo for just $11. And I'm probably going to make a couple more videos today, if I'm honest with you. It's one of those days.